Hello and welcome. I'm Peggy, and I hope you'll take time to stay with us today. I think you and I have a chance to really learn some good information, and we're going to talk about what it means to be a foster parent, but beyond that, a therapeutic foster parent. And if you're like I am, you've heard the words, but you really don't know what it means and what the commitment that these people have made in their lives. And we have some experts here with us. We also have a phone number and a website. And so I hope that we will be able to transport kind of the stories that are going on all around us that you and we hear about it, but we don't really know. And I'm really thrilled. Betsy Manning is here. And Betsy and I have had a chance to talk a little bit, and you are a joy. And she is a recruiter for the South Carolina Youth Advocate Program.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And then next to her is Ivy Perry and Kim Young and Sherry Woodward. Now, Sherry is a foster parent, so she is living the experience that we're talking about. And this to me is just kind of, I look at people and I think they're living saints. Because if we've had our own kids, there are times that you'd like to sort of say, hey, get out of the way, I don't need this anymore. Everybody who's raised a family knows that there can be times when it's not always lovely.
Right.
And to take on the responsibility, I think that is a true noble act. And you said you decided you are a single foster parent. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have a little boy?
I have a 5-year-old in my home.
Okay. And what made you decide to make this, to me, is an enormous step?
Well, I've always just had a heart to be a foster parent. And I got credentialed through South Carolina Youth Advocate Program. Great bunch of people to work with, and it's really been a great experience.
Well, bless you. And he's five?
He's 5.
Years old? Okay. Now, do these children come for a limited amount of time and then they go back to their homes, or what? How does this work?
Sure. Foster care is a temporary care situation. We look for families in the community who can provide temporary care to children who are in the custody of DSS. And they may come for 6 months, they may come for 10 months. When we initially get the referral from DSS to place children, sometimes we have that information and sometimes we do not. The great thing about South Carolina Youth Advocate Program is that we work closely with our foster parents to get them information that is shared with us, to be that link with DSS, to make sure they have that type of information. So it is temporary care. It's temporary care in the sense that the goal of foster care is reunification to the biological family, to
that's your aim, is to get them back to their mother and father, hopefully.
Correct.
Yeah, but in the meantime, you're concerned with the well-being and the safety and all that of the child.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing.
We're looking for families who can provide that temporary care.
And if families have their own children,
we welcome that. We have to take that into consideration when we're doing the placement. If a child that's in foster care, therapeutic foster care, can be placed with other children. So if you have your own children, that's completely fine. And if you don't have any children in the home, that's fine as well.
Okay. A child of therapeutic, are you telling me that these children, we all have problems. Anybody who's raised a family knows that your children have problems. As they go through school, there are things come up. There isn't such a thing as a perfect family or a perfect parent or a perfect child. But these children sometimes have more situations to deal with. Am I right on that?
You're correct.
Yes.
Yes, the children that come into care, you know, they've been through a lot. You know, imagine being taken away from everything that you knew, whether it was good or bad to you, that's normal.
Yeah.
And so, you know, at the very least, any child that comes into care, whether it's therapeutic or regular foster care, they're going to have post-traumatic stress or things like that. And so therapeutic children that are coming into care, those needs have been identified. They've been usually diagnosed. It could be ADHD, you know, different disorders like that. And so, you know, these children that come into care, it sounds scary, but they're just like your own children. They've just been through a little bit that they have to work through. And sometimes that stability and simple love is all that it takes to bring them and stabilize them. You know, and that's all they need.
So the thought that comes to me as I'm sitting here hearing what you're saying is that what you're looking for, and there are children out there waiting to be loved and to be cared. You're looking for, the word that comes to me, you're looking for a family with a little bit of extra grace.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
That's perfectly put.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And
it won't give up
you
on
have,
them.
Obviously.
you have that. That's why I love that she's smiling. So if somebody out there says, wait a minute, I could take, do you commit to a certain amount of time, or do you have to have a certain amount of money, or explain what is involved?
Sure. There is a level of commitment in that when you start the process, we like to get you through the process in 90 to 120 days. So we want you to commit to complete the process. And then once you take a placement, we want you to commit to be able to work with that placement, whether it's a 7-year-old or a 14-year-old. Nothing happens overnight. There's going to be a transition period for that child coming into your home because they don't know you. You don't know them. You don't know what their needs and wants are. So there is a level of commitment there, but once you become licensed as a therapeutic foster home, it's a 2-year license. And you have to go up for recertification. You have to go through a process to make sure everything is still applicable for your family. But if you take a placement and you feel like, okay, maybe I'm in over my head, first, of course, we want you to call us so we can talk to you and maybe do some crisis intervention. But if you feel like, you know, this is not what I can do, I can't do this, then definitely we're going to have that conversation and say, you know, what would you like for us to do? How can we support you? And you have an option to close your home. Of course, that's not what we want.
No.
But, you know, people sometimes feel like they can do this, and sometimes it's not a good fit for their family. Their situation changes, and you definitely can opt out of it.
But if a family already has children, have their own children, that doesn't exclude them from
No.
bringing in.
Sometimes children do even better with a family atmosphere. You know, to have siblings to throw a ball with and play with it
Right.
reminds them of their home, or you know, it welcomes them in. Sometimes they
These
don't.
kids are already in trauma.
Right.
You're not talking about somebody that just goes to the park and swings
Right.
on the swing and it's a
No.
normal day.
Right.
You're talking about kids that have been through,
Yes.
I guess, some pretty dramatic
Yes.
circumstances.
Traumatized, sometimes severely.
And there's a lot of that out there, isn't there? We don't
There
like to
is.
think about it. We hear about it, but we think it's happened someplace else.
Right. It's happening here. We have children in therapeutic foster care who have developmental delays. We have children that have behavioral and emotional problems. We have children that have special medical needs, all in therapeutic foster care, who need that loving home, who can take the time and care for them, make sure their needs are met, and also be willing to work as part of a treatment team.
So you really have, I have this, they brought me. This is a step beyond being a foster parent.
Yes.
That's what you're asking.
Right.
And do we have a need here in the upstate for these homes?
We absolutely have a need. Currently, our agency has between 43 children placed, but we get referrals for children on a daily basis that sometimes we can't place because we don't have the homes to meet their needs.
When you say you get referrals, is that from the court, or where do they
From
come
DSS. The majority of our referrals are from DSS. They have children who come into care who may already be in care that need a therapeutic level home. And they'll call our agency, and we'll determine if we have a home to fit that child's needs so they can be placed to receive that care.
So a therapeutic, that's interesting. A therapeutic home is different then from just a normal home.
From a regular foster care home?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So they have to really be willing to give, I guess, more.
They really do. We require that our homes be willing to work with different agencies. You are a part of the treatment team in that you're responsible for writing notes to document that child's treatment and the success or the things that may need to be changed for that child's treatment. You're also always...
Now, are you talking about physical conditions or a child who would need psychiatric help, or both?
It could be both. We could have a medically fragile child. Some of our younger children are medically fragile, and it could be they have a breathing tube or some type of feeding tube where you're monitoring that. And we could have children where it is psychiatric. When Kim mentioned diagnosis, we have children that receive medication. We have children that go to therapies.
Okay.
That type of thing. So you're going to be working with those team members to ensure that child's care.
And the need is here.
The need is
right
here.
now. You have children that you need to find a home for. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back, and we do want to be sure that the phone number and the website are available. We'll be right back.